The annual defense funding bill is now in the hands of the Senate after it passed the House with broad bipartisan support. The legislation dedicates $768 billion next year alone for the Pentagon and other national security programs. It includes a pay raise for service members, an independent review of the war in Afghanistan, and changes to the military justice system, making sexual harassment a crime for the first time in U.S. military history. However, not all senators are happy with this landmark addition, saying the bill does not go far enough to reform the system and help sexual assault survivors. For more on this bill, I want to bring in Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. She is also a retired lieutenant colonel and a Purple Heart recipient. Senator Duckworth, welcome. So, do you believe the changes made to the military justice system in this bill are enough to protect service members who've been assaulted?
I think it's a good start, but I don't think that it's enough. I think it's a positive step in overhauling the way the military handles sexual assault cases, but we could have and should have gone further to get justice for survivors. And frankly, this is about the readiness of the military and doing right by the women and men who serve our nation in uniform.
What further steps would you have liked to have seen outlined in the bill?
Well, I think that we could have empowered victims more, and then we can also remove some of the investigative and prosecutorial decisions out of the chain of command. I think that the bill, as it passed, by the way, as it passed the Senate, had all of those provisions in it, and unfortunately, many of them were stripped out of the joint bill that was in conference with the House.
And Senator, as you know, this is the first national defense budget Congress is passing in 2 decades without being in a war. Yet this year's budget includes a more than $20 billion increase compared to fiscal year 2021. What is the reasoning behind that increase?
Well, it was essentially a 3% increase. It ties into inflation. There are some force modernization pieces that have to do with military equipment. There are more benefits for the troops, which I'm very proud of. I'm very proud that I was able to include increased parental leave, and then also some pay parity between National Guard reserve units and active duty forces. And I'm also very, very proud of the provision that I have in there to maintain a minimum number of C-130s in the inventory.
So those are the elements in the bill, I'm assuming, that you feel are the most beneficial. Are those the key parts that you fought for the most?
Well, the one that I'm especially proud of is dealing with military hunger. Most Americans don't know that if you are on the junior end of the pay scale and you're married with just one child, you qualify for SNAP benefits. And my provision in the bill will make sure that we end the scourge of military hunger, so that military families are no longer going to be reliant on food pantries and food banks, for example.
Are there any key parts that you fought for that were omitted?
I mean, there are quite a few, but I'm going to focus on the wins. My Afghanistan War Commission is in there as well, that I'm very proud of, and that is it's not a bipartisan bill. It's a nonpartisan commission that's going to look at the full 20 years of the war. And really look at the mistakes and lessons learned by all folks, not just Department of Defense, but State Department, Washington, even members of Congress ourselves. And I'm hoping that we get a comprehensive lessons learned out of it in order to never make those same mistakes again in the future.
There's a couple interesting things. There's over $7 billion to check on the power of China. I want to ask you about that. And also the UFO task force. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I did not work on the UFO piece. I will tell you that China is a near-peer competitor, and we must be a presence around the world in opposition of the PRC. They're doing everything that they can to expand their influence, not just economically, but also militarily. I mean, they've created entire islands, by building a new island out in the South China Sea, and we simply have to check their territorial expansion.
And I do want to ask you about another spending bill, the Democrats' social and climate spending package. Senator Manchin is still not committing to a yes vote on the deal. Have you spoken with him recently on the bill? Do you believe at this point it is realistic that it will pass by Christmas?
I think it is realistic that it will pass. I've spoken with him in the past, not this week, about the importance of paid childcare and parental leave policies, and that we need to make sure that if we are going to have childcare, that we don't choose between parts of the country, and that we need to make sure that we don't price parents out of the workplace by not helping them with childcare. I mean, right now, when I talk to employers in Illinois, what they tell me is we could bring people back to work, but there's not enough childcare. They can't come back to work because there's no childcare. We lost so much childcare capacity in this country during the pandemic that we have to grow that back. And so there's some really good provisions in the bill, and the childcare piece in particular was what I spoke with Joe about.
And Senator Duckworth, this bill also includes changes to state and local taxes, which opponents are saying favor the wealthy. Do you support inclusion of the so-called SALT proposal?
I do. The SALT proposal is really something that really hurts middle-income families in my home state. In Illinois, the SALT provision basically essentially becomes a double tax that working families in Illinois are paying, and by getting rid of that, we're going to be able to take away that basically double taxation that's happening on families all across my state.
Even if it inadvertently helps the wealthy as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to help far more of the middle income than it is anybody else. And I think, if you look at the basic corporate tax and if you look at the basic taxes for billionaires, that's what's going to go after the wealthy.
Right. Okay. So, Senator, while President Biden waits for that bill to land on his desk, he's wasting no time touring the country to talk up the bipartisan infrastructure deal. It includes an act you pioneered to make public transit more accessible for people with disabilities. What kind of difference will this make? And when will we start to see those upgrades nationwide?
Well, you should be able to see those upgrades pretty quickly. As early as the beginning of next year, because there's a range of upgrades that can happen. Yes, it is about making all mass transit stations in this country accessible for wheelchair users like myself, but also it would provide for improvements to things like cell phone apps so that somebody who has a vision impairment or a cognitive impairment or a hearing impairment can actually better access things like ticketing systems. If you're blind and you can't do Braille on a ticket and you have to deal with a paper ticket, it's really hard to work with that. So people are going to see improvements right away, and some of the things that are already in the works, and other things will take time. It's going to take time to build new ramps and elevators and the like, but you're going to see improvements start, I believe, right away, because so many of these transit systems have these projects ready to go. They just were not funded, and now they are.
Senator Tammy Duckworth, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure to be on. Thank you.